Did you know that today is the International Archives Day? Well, all around the world, archival community professionals are advocating on the importance of effective record keeping by supporting efforts at archiving. Archives and archivists play an important role in accountability, transparency, democracy, heritage, memory, and society. Well, on Panorama today, we will be exploring the relevance of archiving to society. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ruth Aguele. Welcome. The alleged discord between President Bola Tinubu and Governor of Lagos State has been put to rest, as the governor was among the Lagos Governors Advisory Council who visited President Bola Tinubu on Salah homage. State House correspondent Musbahud and Wahab reports.
These are members of the Lagos State Governors Advisory Council, GAC. The council, a significant organization of a ruling party, plays important roles in the social and political arena of the state, behind the scene albeit. Here, at another interface with their leader, President Bola Tinubu, they call it a family meeting. But significant was the presence of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and his predecessor, Akinwumi Ambode. Indeed, it was a family affair, with a meeting behind closed doors.
Nothing beyond the fact that he was very happy to see us, extremely very happy to see us. He was very excited that we are one big happy family, and we are not divided in any form, and we all honestly also pledge our full loyalty to him, to his government, to as our leader, as our father, and it was unanimous. And he's charged us to ensure that the forthcoming local government election, which, that we should all go and do our very best and ensure that, we'll continue to keep the flag of the party flying.
Excellency, I'm sure some sections of the media reported a case recently alleging a discord between you and the president. What about?
Did you see any discord?
That's what we need you to clarify.
Did you see any? Can't you see when you are smiling, I'm smiling? There's none. There are people that believe that they are more Catholic than the Pope. There are things that you see people, they cry more than they bereave. Father and son, are things that we always ensure that, we're clear. There's nothing at all. My father is my leader, and we're grateful that he has given us the audience today to come in and say hello to him.
The president also separately received two paramount rulers from the southwest, the Oni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Enito Ogunwusi, and Alake of Egbaland, Oba Adedotun Gbadebo. The Oni, on Salah homage, also discussed with the president the possibility of an international collaboration with an Asian country. While assessing the policies and reforms of the administration, the paramount ruler believes Nigeria is now poised for development under President Tinubu.
The challenges we have, the current administration is addressing it, which is the area of security. We are very happy with the forest guard structure and another platform to bring in more police force for the forest guard to continue to comb the entire forest, both in the north and in the south. So once security can be addressed, there is a good platform for investment to flow to Nigeria now. One area that Mr. President is addressing now, and I discussed with him too, is area of security. So he's on top. Let's keep praying for him. Let's keep praying for him and all our leaders. It's about time for all of us in Nigeria to come together and look at Nigeria as cup half full, other than cup half empty.
First Lady Oluremi Tinubu and Oni of Ife exchanged honors as the traditional ruler departed. In Lagos, Musbau and Wahab, NTA News.
Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has acknowledged the success of this year's Hajj season, crediting it to the kingdom's commitment to serving the two holy mosques and the pilgrims who are Allah's visitors. Takbe Alabi will tell us more.
The continued success we witnessed in serving the guests of Allah is the result of our country's efforts in serving the two holy mosques, the holy sites, and we will continue to exert all efforts to provide comfort to the guests of Allah. The Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's remarks came during a reception held at the Royal Court in Mina Palace, where he received Eid al-Adha well-wishers on behalf of King Salman. The gathering included senior princes, the kingdom's Grand Mufti, high-ranking officials, military commanders involved in the Hajj operation, and guests from Gulf Cooperation Council countries. Prince Mohammed also praised the dedication of government employees and volunteers across all sectors for their role in enabling pilgrims to complete their Hajj rituals safely and peacefully. During this year's Hajj, a substantial number of workers and volunteers were deployed. A total of 1,673,230 pilgrims participated in the 2025 Hajj season, according to data released by Saudi Arabia General Authority for Statistics.
The figures highlight a successful return to pre-pandemic participation levels and reaffirm Saudi Arabia's commitment to facilitating a smooth and secure Hajj for Muslims worldwide. From Mecca in Saudi Arabia, Tokwe Alabi, NTA News.
Following that development, the House of Representatives Committee on Muslim Pilgrims says a remarkable improvement has been recorded in this year's Hajj operation, while ensuring all concerns raised by the pilgrims are addressed going forward, of course. This was when the chairman of the committee, Jafar Mohammed, led all the members on an oversight visit to the pilgrims in Mina Valley. Correspondent Jamilu Ibrahim reports.
The House of Representatives Committee on Muslim Pilgrims was on an inspection visit to the Nigerian pilgrims at Munawali as part of its oversight function on the 2025 Hajj operation. The committee inspected tents allocated to various states and had an interface with the pilgrims and the state officials about their experience for this year's Hajj operation, especially at the holy sites.
We have seen a lot of improvement from Hajj Commission. The chairman of Hajj Commission has done a lot, and we thank him for his effort. And we are going to look at critical issues that were raised.
Majority of them are complaining about toilet, and we promise you as your representative, we will do all what we can to ensure next year it will not be the same.
The House of Representatives Committee members have also inspected kitchens, clinics and toilet facilities at the tents.
Medicals too had some slight complaints, which we are still going to talk to NACON and see how they can address it. But generally, it's a far improvement above the all other years, according to the programs.
The committee is expected to present its preliminary report formally on the 2025 Hajj operation at the post-Arafat meeting to be convened by NACON in Makkah soon. In Makkah, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Turning to other issues, widows and veterans who made sacrifices for the nation have smiled home with palliatives. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that this is in the spirit of the Salah celebration coming from the National Defense College Alumni Association.
On the land, sea and in the air, military personnel work day and night in the sun and rains just to keep citizens safe. In the course of this patriotic task, many pay the ultimate sacrifice, and this sacrifice, the National Defense College Alumni Association is grateful. What the fallen heroes left behind, the military veterans and some members of the barracks community are given a sense of belonging.
This is first and foremost in the spirit of Salah. You can say it's Eid al-Kabir celebration that's on, and we have been able to reach out to some of our friends and partners, through which we are reaching out to a number of people mostly the needy, widows of our fallen soldiers, and others that we can support in the spirit of the Salah celebration.
The 2025 annual event, fifth in the series, had 380 beneficiaries. From the National Defense College in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Well, let's talk about the Archive International Archives Day. Of course, you know an archive is an accumulation of historical records or the physical place, well, they are collected or located rather. They contain primary source documents that have accumulated over the course of an individual or organization's lifetime and are kept to show function of that person or organization. Professional archivists and historians generally understand archives to be records that have been naturally and necessarily generated as a product of regular legal, commercial, administrative or social activities for countries, and Nigeria included. Well, archives serve first of all as the nation's memory and enable it to plan intelligently for the future based on an awareness of past experiences. So let's have that conversation right now. We have in the studio the National Librarian, Professor Chinwe Veronica Anunobi. She is the CEO of the National Library. Thank you for joining us on Panorama.
Thank you so very much.
Okay, so archives. A lot of people would not readily want to talk about this, but very significant if we want to preserve our heritage, our history. So you tell us how important that is.
Thank you so very much for that question. I want to start by saying that if you lose the archives of a nation, you lose the history of that nation. Archives protects, preserves, and make available for the future all historical information, documents, pictorials, audiovisuals, photos of the past, even the current, even proceedings, letters, memoirs of the past, and even of the present, to enable the future generation know how we lived our lives and be able to build on it. If you don't know where you started, you wouldn't even know the direction you are going.
Yeah.
So the country, Nigeria, we have archives. I know we have national archives, but actually the National Library, why I'm here actually, is also acting as the archive of the nation because of the responsibility, the mandate given to the National Library. And I think that may be the reason why our founding fathers started building the National Library of Nigeria, 11-story building with 24 stacks that is going to contain all archival materials, text and non-text of this country.
You know, I'm just curious, Prof, if you would like to share with us, since it's the International Archives Day, the kind of archives, you know, that has been preserved in the National Library.
We have everything. Let me explain that. The National Library, because of the responsibility, our mandate, the primary mandate is to collect, process, preserve every printed or published and unpublished resources that is managing in this country about Nigeria by Nigerians, wherever they are, and also not only the printed, that is text. The mandate also says that we have to collect also non-text materials, photos, videos, audiovisual, films, maps, name them, everything. So in the National Library of Nigeria, we are having the responsibility of the archives of this nation and also responsibility of the library, which is also to make the resources of the library or the resources of the nation available for people to use, for research, for education, for legal issues, for business, for transparency. That is what the National Library. So when you were talking about the archives, the National Library as an archive, that is the only institution in the country where you get legal information, newspapers, because we have the newspapers of this published in this country from the beginning of, in the 50s, we have 1956 newspaper in the National Library.
Okay.
So, yes.
Okay, Prof, if I'll come
That is for legal activities,
yes, Yes, if I'll come in there, I know that, you know, we have a culture in Nigeria in the aspect of maintenance. You're preserving archives of, we're talking centuries, you know, decades and all of that. And the world is changing. We're seeing evolution of, you know, digital era. So how is the National Library inculcating these new trends to preserve this heritage, not losing out its potency?
Thank you very much. You know, what developing countries, the global south normally do is to follow the global north when they start. Like you say, the international, you know that International Archives Day or Archives Week this year is focusing on using technology to harness archives and make them available for people to use. Now, one major way of preserving archives is to put them in electronic format, that is digitizing them. And the National Library is championing it, because when I came to office in 2021, September 2021, I discovered that the archival resources of this nation, the heritage, that you cannot find any other place in the world.
It's enormous.
Yes, it's enormous, and they are deteriorating. So we zeroed into digitization, and we built what is called the National Repository of Nigeria. That's why I told you that the Global South is always trying to follow the Global North. Now, we are at the center, because this year is talking about technology, using technology to preserve and create access. We are already there since 2021. We have what you call the National Repository of Nigeria, where we have all these archival resources. We are looking at those ones that are very old, deteriorating, because funds for preservation, for protection, for migration is a very great problem for the National Library and, of course, other archival institutions. So we are using technology to preserve them, not only to preserve them, but also to make them available, accessible to everybody globally. Okay, and I can assure you that we started late 2022. In fact, we unveiled the repository in 2023, and presently we have over 1,500 records, resources in that National Repository of Nigeria, which is #1 way of preserving these archival resources.
Okay, if you visit other parts of the world, you see how they make their national libraries tourist attraction.
Yeah.
You agree with me? So are we looking at in that direction, talking about Nigeria now? I know that's should be, of course, in the offing, but what are the strategies, you know, you want to attract people to come there? Because we don't readily hear people say they're visiting the National Library as a tourist destination and all of that.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
As soon as the National Library, the headquarters of the National Library is completed, and it is the cultural area of the, you see, it is the central area of the nation. It is supposed to be the tourist area of the nation.
Yeah.
You have the National Mosque, you have the National Library, and you have the Ecumenical Center. As soon as that building is completed, it's a 11-floor building. The essence of it is not only to preserve the archive. I'm sure that by the time it is completed, these archives, the National Library and National Archives, will be collapsed, and you have the National Library and Archives, because the opportunity to store and the opportunity to exhibit. We have very wonderful places where you can exhibit. I am overwhelmed and marveled. Just last week, the National Librarian of Ireland was telling us that they have 5.2 million photos in their National Library. So that's the kind of thing we are looking at.
You know, we could beat that record.
We will come to you. We will come to the whole country. We're waiting for our building to be completed. The moment the building is completed, we will go and get the proceedings of the National Assembly. Remember, in the archives, there are classified and non-classified. When the material is classified, we will keep them not open, we have it closed access. But when it is unclassified, we leave it open. So we will come to everybody.
All right,
Letters,
so Prof,
memos. Yeah.
Let's leave the conversation there. I know you're very passionate, and I must say you just took me back to my secondary school days. History used to be my favorite subject, you know, and it's just beautiful when you know where, like you said, where you're coming from, you know where you're headed, right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Prof.
You're welcome.
Professor Chinwe Veronica Anunobi, the National Librarian and the CEO of National Library of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you.
So why don't we ponder on thoughts, you know, thinking of our heritage and ways we can contribute? Well, we'll take this break. Thank you for staying tuned. Nigeria's Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adeboyega Oyetola, joins President Emmanuel Macron, other world leaders and global dignitaries at the 2025 Blue Economy and Finance Forum in Monaco, themed around a regenerative blue economy and sustainable ocean finance. The gathering emphasizes the urgent need for coordinated global action to protect marine ecosystems and protect sustainable use of ocean resources. Leaders discussed accelerating the transition to a resilient ocean economy, scaling up funding for SDG 14, Life Below Water, and aligning marine science with policy making to safeguard the planet's largest ecosystem. The minister, who represented President Bola Tinubu at the event, says Nigeria remains committed to ensuring the protection and sustainable management of ocean resources and will continue to play a pivotal role in driving inclusive, science-based and economically viable ocean solutions. Oyetola engages with other leaders, technical experts and institutional leaders to explore avenues for increased cooperation in blue economy development, marine conservation and capacity building across the West and Central African sub-region. The special event at the United Nations Oceans Conference in Nice, France, was hosted by Prince Albert II of Monaco. Let's talk politics. The All Progressives Congress stakeholders in Kogi East Senatorial District have passed a vote of confidence in the administration of President Bola Tinubu, as it is repositioning the country for the better. This was during a town hall meeting at the instance of the Minister of Steel Development, Shuaibu Abubakar Audu, in Kogi State.
Minister Shuaibu Abubakar Audu, who was in his Ogbonicha country home for Salah celebration, interacts with his constituents at a town hall meeting to enhance unity and to further strengthen APC in Kogi East. During the event, the Steel Development Minister, Shuaibu Abubakar Audu, briefed the people on his stewardship as a minister within the past 2 years. He commends President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the opportunity given him to serve the country.
The president has performed tremendously, and every politics is local. So I came to my constituency to brief them. And as you can see, they've been extremely delighted with the feedback they got.
The minister describes President Tinubu's administration as the best thing to happen to Nigeria at this time, encouraging his constituents and Nigerians to continue to pray and support the president in his quest to reposition the country. Other speakers listed their support for the All Progressives Congress, stressing that Kogi State remains an APC state.
What we agreed to give our support to Tinubu through our son.
A minute's silence was observed in honor of late Prince Abubakar Audu, who was described as a pillar of politics in Kogi State. Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
A sports update will be next.
Nigeria's Toby Amuson tasted her flat speed at the Racers Grand Prix in Kingston, Jamaica, where she delivered an impressive performance in the women's 100-meter, clocking a season's best of 11.18 seconds to finish fourth. As she sharpened her speed in the preparations for the hurdles season, the race was won by Jamaica's Tina Clayton, who stormed to victory in 10.98 seconds, followed closely by American Jadiel Sears in 11.04 seconds. Meanwhile, Nigeria shone brightly at the ITF Junior Circuit J30 World Tennis Tour in Abuja, where Success Ogunjobi showcased her prowess by winning the girls' singles title with a score of 7-6, 6-3 against Egyptian player Habib Habibat. This victory marked the first leg of the Junior Tennis Tour in Abuja. In the boys' category, Nigeria's top junior player Lucky Danjuma win at the World Junior Championship in Ghana was no coincidence, as he secured the boys' title by defeating fellow Nigerian third seed Ezekiel Azi with a score of 6-1, 6-3 in the final.
My dream is to play the ATP, but I know it's not easy because without sponsor and hard training, it's not possible for me. So
I have to remain focused, and well, it's going to give me the confidence to play the second leg very well.
And finally, world number 1 Yannick Sinner faced defeat in a 5-set match against defending champion Carlos Alcaraz in the men's singles final at the French Open on Sunday. The grueling match lasted 5 hours and 29 minutes, making it the longest French Open final since the sport turned professional in 1968 and the second longest in Grand Slam history. Alcaraz, the defending champion, fought hard to win with scores of 4-6, 6-7, 6-4, 7-6, 7-6. He becomes the first man to win a Grand Slam title after saving a match point since Novak Djokovic defeated Roger Federer in the 2019 Wimbledon final. With sports updates, Ijoma Peter Wante, NTA News.
And that's Panorama. Thank you for your time. I'm Ruth Aguwele.